When you think of serial killers, what comes to mind? Twisted minds, horrific crimes, and adults who've spent years fostering darkness. But what if I told you one of the most chilling serial killers in history was just 9 years old? That's right, Cayetano Santos Godino, a name etched in infamy, was no grown man. He was a child. Born in Buenos Aires, Argentina, on October 31st, 1896, Cayetano was a boy who should have been carving pumpkins or enjoying the simple mischief of childhood. Instead, he spent his early years committing acts so horrifying that they shocked even seasoned police officers. By the age of 9, Cayetano, nicknamed El Petiso Orejudo, the big-eared shorty, for his distinct appearance, was a full-fledged serial killer. Let's dig into his deeply unsettling story and try to understand how a young boy became one of the youngest serial killers in recorded history. A troubled beginning. Cayetano didn't exactly have a nurturing start to life. His parents were Italian immigrants scraping by in Buenos Aires. Poverty hung over their household like a dark cloud, but it wasn't just the lack of money that made his upbringing difficult. His father was reportedly an abusive alcoholic, and Cayetano, the fourth of 8 children, often bore the brunt of his father's anger. From an early age, Cayetano displayed alarming behavior. He tortured animals, a classic red flag in psychology, and started small fires for fun. What's chilling is that he didn't hide his actions. If anything, he seemed proud of them. This wasn't just a mischievous child. This was a boy fascinated with causing pain and destruction. A trail of violence. By the age of 7, Cayetano's crimes escalated from animal cruelty to harming other children. His first recorded attack was in 1904, when he tried to kill a 2-year-old boy by hitting him on the head with a stone. Shockingly, his age and size worked to his advantage. People didn't take his actions seriously. After all, what harm could a small boy do? Oh, how wrong they were. Between 1906 and 1912, Cayetano committed a string of horrifying crimes. He would lure children away, usually promising them candy or a fun game, only to torture or kill them. His victims were often younger or smaller than him, making them easy targets. Here are just a few of his documented crimes. 1906, he lured a young boy to an empty lot and threw him into a ditch filled with thorns. The child survived, but Cayetano walked away without consequences. 1910, he tried to burn another child alive by setting their clothes on fire. The child was rescued, but Cayetano showed no remorse. 1912. This was the year Cayetano's crimes reached their peak. He killed at least 4 children that year, often using strangulation or blunt force. Why didn't anyone stop him? One question looms large. How did Cayetano manage to get away with so much for so long? Several factors played a role. His age. Authorities and parents couldn't fathom a child being capable of such violence. Society's naivety. Early 20th century Buenos Aires wasn't prepared to deal with a child psychopath. The concept of juvenile criminality was barely understood. A lack of forensic science. In an era before fingerprinting and DNA, connecting crimes was far harder. Cayetano's parents even sent him to a reform school at one point, but it did little to curb his violent tendencies. He returned home, more dangerous than ever. Capture and trial. Cayetano's reign of terror finally ended in December 1912 when he was caught trying to set a warehouse on fire. During questioning, his casual confession to multiple murders stunned authorities. He spoke about his crimes with an eerie detachment, as if he were recounting a schoolyard game. He was found guilty of 4 murders and several assaults. But here's the twist. Because of his young age, Cayetano wasn't sentenced to death or even life in prison. Instead, he was sent to a juvenile correctional facility. What happened next? Cayetano spent the rest of his life in confinement, moving between juvenile facilities and eventually prison. Despite years of incarceration, he never showed signs of remorse or rehabilitation. In prison, his sadistic tendencies continued. He reportedly killed cats for fun and tried to incite riots. Even hardened criminals avoided him, finding his crimes too disturbing. Cayetano died in 1944, at the age of 48, in prison. Some say he was killed by fellow inmates. Others believe his death was due to health issues exacerbated by years of neglect. Understanding the darkness. The story of Cayetano Santos Godino raises uncomfortable questions about nature versus nurture. Was he born with an innate predisposition for violence, or did his abusive upbringing create a monster? Modern psychology might classify Cayetano as a sociopath, or someone with conduct disorder, a condition marked by a lack of empathy and violent behavior. But even with today's knowledge, a case like his would be rare. Children as young as 9 rarely become serial killers, making Cayetano an unsettling anomaly. The legacy of El Petiso Orejudo. Cayetano's story remains a chilling reminder of the capacity for evil, even in the unlikeliest of places. It forces us to confront the uncomfortable reality that age doesn't always shield innocence. As horrifying as his actions were, Cayetano Santos Godino's life also highlights the failures of a society unprepared to deal with such darkness. Could better intervention have saved his victims, or even Cayetano himself? We may never know, but his story lingers, a macabre tale that continues to fascinate and horrify over a century later. So, what do you think? Was Cayetano a product of his environment, or was he destined for darkness from the start? If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon to never miss an update. Until next time.